with Tommy, and I mean Tommy is a beast. He's a beast. He is a beast. He is a beast. He is a beast. They say this is a big rich. I just come from the bright light. I gotta make it. What's up, Jules? Diamond Girl here. Anyway, welcome to another Sunday night recap of Power. Tonight we are recapping episode 5, King's Gambit. Let's get right into this video. I don't think I have much time. That battery look like it's going to die. So anyway, let's get into this video, right? So if I look away or I look down, I am checking my lipstick because this lipstick likes to show up on my teeth. So anyway, let me just do that really quick and we'll get right into this. All right, King's Gambit. How are we gonna open up with King's Gambit? Oh, I'm sorry I'm out of the view. I'm grabbing my notebook and we're gonna hit it. All right. First thing we're gonna talk about is Tyrek and the young lady. Since I don't know her name, I don't remember it. I don't know if she's his boo or not. Anyway, she tells him that he opens up with a not so great chess move, right? It's not the best move to open up with, but I understand why they named this episode King's Gambit, because you learn that all the time you think this girl is with Tyrek and for Tyrek in this operation. She's not. She's actually the competition. So she's just like an inside, a mole, for lack of words. She's there to find out what the deal is, how much product they have, if they have them on, how much competition Tyrek actually is. And this is where you see Tyrek is not that smart. He's smart, but he's not street smart, right? So anyway, he's run out of product. A lot of things has happened. He's run out of product. He's gotten kicked out of the school because she dimed him out. How do we know she dimed him out? When he's walking out the room, his king is flat on the chessboard. The only person he was playing chess with is her, right? So we find out all along that she pretended to be on his team when technically she was really on another team, but she's smart. She's smart enough to look like she's a part of the team and not really be a part of the team. And these are the things that Tyrek has to learn. So Tyrek thinks like, he's this dude, he's pushing pills and all this other stuff, but he's really not that dude. He's really not cut out for this. He just thinks he is because he's a product of Ghost and Tasha, right? So I'm not even going to spend a whole lot of time on it. One thing that I definitely wanted to talk about, which I have a habit of mixing up the episodes with the characters. Again, forgive me for that. It's a lot going on in this season. There's a lot going on in every episode. It is packed with a lot of information and a lot of intel with each character. So the last video for episode 4, I talked about Proctor and how Proctor was playing both sides. As far as Maria Suarez was concerned and him trying to get her killed. That is actually in this episode 5. What I should have mentioned about Proctor in episode 4 is that he let his mother die, his ex-wife, because there's a big custody battle with him and his ex-wife. And he's a weasel too. Like, that's my favorite word for some of these characters, because they just know how to weasel their way and manipulate their way and maneuver their way or maneuver things to get their way. So in episode 4, Proctor and his ex-wife is having this big all-out custody battle over Elisa Marie, their daughter. And because Proctor knows her weaknesses, he plays on those weaknesses. He pretends that he's engaged to an assistant that works for him, and that sets his ex-wife off into this drug binge because she's a former coke. I'm moving over a former coke person. Checking my teeth. Yeah, she's a former. She used to sniff. She's a former addict. And she's also a lawyer. So that just sends her off and makes her weak. It hits a button, presses a button, and she gets high. And when he realizes, when he shows up to the house to see his daughter, that she has actually OD'd, he doesn't call the cops. But what he doesn't know is that he's being recorded. You know, there's a lot of backstory to that. Watch the first 3 episodes up to episode 4 and you'll see what's going on with that. But he literally lets her die in episode 4 and just pretty much was like, you're not taking my daughter from me. Allows the drugs to overtake her body and she dies. So that's episode 4 with Proctor. In episode 5, Proctor, as I mentioned in the previous video, is trying to convince either Ghost or Tommy to kill Maria Suarez. Well, he did convince Tommy because Ghost is not going to do it, right? We already know that. Ghost is a changed man. You know, he's trying to convince everybody that this is not him anymore. So Proctor goes to Tommy, and Tommy is all game for it because Tommy thought that she should have been killed all along. It was Ghost that said no when they killed her boyfriend / husband or whoever he was, my bad, to Maria. But she was definitely a love interest. He was definitely a love interest to her, and she was there in the wrong place at the wrong time. Again, like I said in my previous video, I'm not cut out for it like Keisha not cut out for it. You feel me? Not cut out for it one bit. So this is where Proctor, you see Proctor's character, and he's just trying to get over to save his own butt, for lack of words. And there's a part in the episode where he's talking to his cousin Benny, and he thinks his daughter is asleep. She's not. And she overhears the fact that he allowed her mother to die from the overdose that she's taken of the cocaine. And he doesn't want her to know that, but she knows it because she's asleep. Well, she looks asleep, which reminds me when I was a kid that my mom used to always say every closed eye is not sleep. You know, you have to be mindful when you're talking around these kids because these kids are smart. They're listening when you think they're not listening, and you're going to have a lot of questions or a lot to answer. But anyway, most of this commentary is about Proctor tonight because Proctor dies in this episode. He has this shootout with Tommy, and I mean, Tommy is a beast. He's a beast. He is a beast. He is a beast. He is a beast. He's all about handling his business. He's all about getting rid of what needs to get rid of. He's all about resolution in his way. And his way, unfortunately, is 9 times out of 10 popping somebody, capping somebody. But Proctor also brought that on himself. See, sometimes you can dig a ditch for somebody and not realize that you're digging it for yourself. What's that old saying? Be careful of the ditch you dig because you may be digging it for yourself. I think it goes something like that. And that's exactly what Proctor did. He went to Tommy to get Maria Suarez killed, but he's already flipped. He's already become an informant, right? Dealing with Sax. And Tommy is hiding in this girl's closet, and Proctor's having this conversation with Sax, and Tommy overhears that Proctor is a rat. Now, so not only is Tommy going to kill Maria, which he did, he's going to kill Proctor too, and that's exactly what he did. He went after Proctor. Proctor knew, again, playing both sides, but making sure that he protects himself. He shows up at Ghost's house talking about, oh, this former person he put away is... I'm going to have to stop this video right here. This battery's about to die. I'll be back. All right, I'm back with a fully loaded battery. So as I was saying, Proctor, that's where we left off. He has been found out by the same person he went to do his dirty work for him because he can't do it himself, right? He's not equipped. Or he is because he is part of a maid family, but he doesn't want to involve them. So anyway, as I was saying, being that this episode mostly surrounds him because he's dying, the little weasel's dying tonight, or did die tonight, he tried to play Ghost and Tommy, or try to recruit either one of them to kill Maria Suarez. Tommy gave in because Tommy wanted her dead already, as I've mentioned before the battery dying. And then Tommy learns that Proctor was flipped. And when Tommy found that out, and Tommy found out where Proctor was staying, Tommy didn't care. Tommy went over there, and like I said, he slaughtered Proctor. More so like he slaughtered Ghost's house. He did more damage to the house than he did to Proctor. I mean, he did kill Proctor, but he tore that house up with that automatic weapon that he used. I mean, oh my goodness. It's just like his hate was at another level, right? Because he's got this lawyer who flipped on him, and then he can't stand Ghost either, right? So he wants Ghost dead too, and then this lawyer is staying at Ghost's house, and he recruits Tyrek, because again, Tyrek is playing everybody. And Tyrek leaves the back door open. He questions Tommy about, are you going to kill my dad? Remember, I told you to let me know before you do it, yada, yada, yada. He's like obsessed also with his father being killed. It's too much. And he takes Proctor's daughter out. Proctor knew he was going to die because he called his daughter, which I thought was really sad. A lot of times I'm so touched by parent-child relationship, and I'm not a parent myself. But since my niece was born, I begin to understand the dynamic and the love that a parent has for a child. So I'm just like, that was a very sad part for me, because it's just like, this poor girl has lost her mother. And in a matter of one episode, we can do days or weeks, however we choose, or months, she loses her father as well. That's a lot for a child. It's a lot for an adult. So I can just imagine how it is for a child. But she loses both her parents. You know, poor girl. She's like in the middle of something that she didn't ask to be in the middle of. And that conversation with her and her father, and it being her father's last words to her, and you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of it is wasn't a lot of the things that he did wasn't only to protect himself, but to protect himself so he can raise the daughter, his only child, that he loved. I can definitely understand it. But I guess dealing with criminals, eventually you become one too. I don't know. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm just recapping one of my favorite and possibly my only favorite show at the time, which is Power, right? So most of this episode was definitely about Proctor. One of the other things that I wanted to touch, because I thought that I was having a complicated time understanding this beef that Keisha has with Tasha, but in rewatching this last season, and understanding all of the other things that happened in previous seasons with Tasha and Keisha, I can definitely understand why Keisha has a beef with Tasha. My issue is, it's not, for me, I don't think it's really a real beef. It's more like, I'm sick of Tasha. I've always been low-key sick of Tasha, but now all of a sudden I have the backbone to verbalize it, because my boo, my man, my honey, my love is at odds with my former best friend's man as well. And although Tasha can't see why Keisha has a problem with her, I think all of us that's watching can clearly see why Keisha has a problem with her. The issue with me with Keisha is that she should have been a woman and stand on her own 2 feet, or put on her big girl panties and address her issues with Tasha prior to dealing with Tommy. Because it almost makes me feel like if she wasn't dealing with Tommy, she was never going to speak up about it. Right? But then again, like I said, Lakeisha's not cut out for this life. I mean, you look back into the prior season, she lied for Tasha to cover Tyrek. You know, since she's gotten involved with Tommy, a lot more of her risk level, or her drama-free level, has been heightened because of who she's dealing with. And unfortunately, she has had to lie and implicate herself into things that, or involve herself and be implicated into things that probably she normally wouldn't have been a part of. Because after all, only thing she was doing prior to having a friend like Tasha, knowing what Tasha's life is about, is raising her son and running her shop, right? I think she was a salon owner. So Again, all of this newfound backbone with Tasha, you know, it's not new. It's always been there. It's always been harboring. And it's funny, at least in my opinion, and it's funny how people can feel a way about you and still skin and grin in your face. Constantly you'll hear me saying these recaps, something that my mom might have told me growing up, and it's one of those things she told me was that everybody that skins and grins in your face is not your friend. That's probably why I don't smile a lot now, because I'm not a skinner and a grinner. Excuse me, you will know where I'm coming from. I am not a shaded person. I'm not a great person. I am black and white. You're going to know from jump when you meet me whether or not you like me, because I don't put on no facade for nobody. and that's on everything, but I feel like the way she's felt about Tasha, she's always felt about Tasha, and I think I've repeated that already like 2-3 times, but I just feel like if everybody would just, especially grown folk, adults, you expect these kind of shady behavior from kids because they still kind of learning how to express themselves, so the behavior is not really shady. But when you got adults that's being shady, like, real talk, boo, we grown, right? If I don't like something you did, I'm gonna let you know. I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. But for me, I have to process on whether or not I feel like wasting my time and my energy expressing to you that I don't like that. I'll just cut you off. And maybe Lakeisha should have did that instead of causing all this extra tension between her and Tasha acting like she don't understand why Lakeisha feels this way. I mean, Latasha has done some things to Lakeisha, so it was interesting to see that interaction between them in the shop, the store, and Lakeisha's just like, but you can't. My thing is, or my issue with that whole interaction is Latasha. Tasha's still trying to come off like she got it together, and she don't, because clearly we all know if that man is gone, her whole situation is over. Clearly, right? She's raveling at the seams without Ghost. And the thing I didn't like is like Lakeisha is like giving her this cold shoulder, like giving her like her behind the kiss or whatever, but then want to turn around and ask her about Holly. All because Tommy's mother done put this thing in her head about Holly, right? One thing I do have to say that I didn't mention in the prior episode is that Tommy takes stock in the things that his mom says, regardless of her being the cokehead that she is. That's so not nice, Novi, but that she is, right? So anyway, she had some questions about Holly, and Latasha. That's because she act like a Latasha. Tasha, kind of divulges like, you don't want to be like, you don't want to end up like Holly, for lack of words. And I'm just like, if you don't understand what your beef is, or what the beef is with you and Keisha, why didn't you just tell her? And then when Lakeisha didn't get what she want, what she do? Throw back that old, like, whatever, Tasha, later for you, don't need you anyway, don't like you, no more, moving on, whoop de whoop whoop. People are so funny. So that, and I'm actually just taking a look at my notes, because I always am. And I think the last thing that I want to talk to you about is just Ghost blaming Tasha for the way Tyrik's behaving. Truth of the matter is, Tyrek is behaving the way he's behaving is because of both of his parents, but clearly there's an issue that Tyrek has with his father. And as you move on into the season and you get to the final episode, you'll learn what Tyrek's beef is, because I couldn't understand what Tyrek's beef was myself. With his father. It's a lot of things that I didn't understand or couldn't understand. I couldn't understand Keisha's beef with Tasha. I couldn't understand Tyrek's beef with Ghost. But as I recap and I rewatch these episodes, it's just like, oh my God, there's so many pointers, so many arrows going this way, that way, this way, as far as why people are the way they are when it comes to Ghost, and why Everybody wants him a ghost. So that's all I have for you tonight. I'm so sorry that my battery died on you guys. I'm sorry. You're here. I want you to stay here. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you liked the commentary, don't forget to drop your comments below. Tell me if there's anything else that you'd like to see besides commentary about Power, because this is the last season. It's the season series finale. I'm not really much of a TV watcher, so I don't know. If you want to recommend any other good show that you would like for me to do commentary on, I would love to do it. Drop your thoughts about episode 5, King's Gambit. Tell me what you thought. Tell me what were some of the amazing things or pointers that you saw in the show tonight. Again, don't forget to give a thumbs up. If you're not a part of the Jewel Empire, I would love for you to become part of the Jewel Empire. If you already are, I'm so glad you're here. I pray that you remain, and I'm praying that you are enjoying these commentaries. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you will not miss anything that Diamond Girl uploads and shares with you guys. Love you, and I'll see you next Sunday on another recap, another Power episode. Love you guys. Mwah.